the bill would prevent
Thank you.
insurance companies from directly reimbursing patients for ambulance services, which would leave it to the consumer to turn around and pay the municipality for the
Right.
EMS expense. Practice is confusing and can force municipalities to track down payments,
Right,
so they look at it.
thank you. And I think the MMA is, I don't know if we would want to look at that a little bit further, delve into that a little bit further, and see if we want to support that or not, because it would protect the town.
Thank you for flagging it and pursuing it, Greg. Fire chief. Greg, do we want to vote on any contracts?
Would propose that you vote on the non-union agreement. Discuss the fire agreement in executive session with the board. So the proposal before you is to ratify a agreement with the non-union group for the period of July 1, 2010 through June 30th of 2011, and then a 3-year agreement, July 1 of 2011 through June 30th of 2014.
And there are no changes from when we
No,
reviewed it?
none.
Do we have a motion? Yes, we do have a
Yes,
motion.
sir.
Mr. Prisco.
Mr. Chairman, I move to ratify the personnel policy/employment agreement between the town of North Reading and the non-union employees for the period of 1 July 2010 to June 30th, 2011, and July 1st, 2011 to June 30th, 2014.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Further discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'm going to abstain, and I'm going to abstain because, with all due respect, I believe that because this was not an agenda item, and I know that you've brought this up a little bit earlier, but my interpretation of the way open meeting law is that it's not on the agenda. It wasn't put on the agenda, giving the public an opportunity to be present, to witness this motion, so I'm going to abstain.
All right. Further discussion?
Just want to highlight the changes for the public consumption.
Changes are a 1-year contractual settlement, 1 year at 1% retroactive for fiscal year 2011, 1% effective the current fiscal year, July 1, 2011, 3% effective July 1 of 2012, 2% effective July 1 of 2013. Those amounts are consistent with some of the other union settlements that we've approved to date. Elimination of the end-of-career sick leave buyback, which is the annual longevity increase for new employees who will be hired from July 1 of 2011, and that's consistent with all of our other union contracts. And then phasing out of the longevity benefit for the employees who are already eligible, so that that benefit would no longer exist as of June 30th of 2014. The other significant item is changing the sick leave buyback at end-of-career buyback at retirement for new employees from 50% of 150 days to 50% of 75 days, and elimination of the annual sick leave buyback for new employees hired after the date of the signing of the agreement, along with a reduction in the number of days that they receive on an annual basis from 15 to 12, again for new employees.
Thank you. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I abstain.
One abstention. Executive session,
For the purposes of collective bargaining and litigation strategy, not to reconvene into open session.
Mr. Prisco.
Mr. Chairman, I move to enter into executive session for the purpose of collective bargaining and litigation strategy. Such discussions in open session will have a detrimental impact on the town, and further, the Board of Selectmen will not return to open session.
Second. Other than to adjourn.
Other than to adjourn.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Mr. O'Leary?
Aye.
Mr. Prisco?
Aye.
Mr. Delaney?
Aye.
Mr. Yule?
Aye.
Chair votes aye.